Matt Mead here for IrishBoxing.com with Ian Gaugran. Ian, we're going straight into a big week for your stable. Graham McCormack out this weekend on the matchroom card. I was talking to Graham early on. He seemed in great spirits. He seemed like he was having the best of crack. But just from a manager's point of view, how did this fight come about?
Well, we were obviously the original plan was to fight against Kieran Getting for the British Boxing Board of Control super middleweight Celtic title, and there was murmurings that Matchroom would have liked to have Graham as an opponent, but we had committed to the Kieran Getting fight, and that was the plan. That was due to be that. Obviously, as people know, that didn't go ahead, and it
Yeah,
didn't go ahead for the fourth time. That's
yeah,
been going on for the guts of a year, eight,
yeah.
9 months. But Matchroom were interested, and while we were committed to the Getting fight, it fell through. That was a couple of different reasons why it fell through. And as soon as it looked as though it was falling through, obviously, doing my managerial duties, got straight onto Matchroom and tried to get the fight back in place, to get Graham on what's obviously a humongous platform, on probably the biggest British domestic card grudge match of the year, as well as one of his kind of his city mates and his gym mate Paddy Donovan, and obviously Gary Cully fighting Francesco Pantera. So yeah, it's very exciting.
With the Kieran Getting thing, can you just go a bit more in depth of, obviously there was two dates in two different places. I think one was in York Hall and the other one was in Aberdeen. I think, because I remember doing my segment, I remember there's two different posters. Can you go in depth at all, Ian, to why the fight was, why there was tit for tat, if you get me, what happened?
The first one, the York Hall one, there was just a little bit of a medical issue on Kieran's side. It was easy enough rectified, but it just transpired during fight week. I think it was an eye thing, and he just needed to get, I think it was a second opinion or a confirmation of an eye test. But by the time that was coming through, it was going to be too late for the board to be able to get that particular date over the line. So in fairness, Mo Pryor, he shifted things around and he was putting it on here, and eventually we got it onto a Northern Sporting Club stroke Sam Kinnock show up in Aberdeen. Then there was just a few little bits during fight week that didn't actually get over the line. There was a little bit of a financial thing and
Okay.
that kind of stuff. So yeah, obviously it fell through very late, but being the silver lining was that
Mm.
as soon as it did, we were able to kind of have that conversation with Matchroom again and get Graham onto that show. So
Okay.
obviously it worked out pretty well.
Mm.
There's no title on the line, and it's you would argue that it's a much more difficult fight,
Yeah.
a bit less of a 50-50 than it was
Yeah.
originally. But it's risk reward in this game,
Yeah.
and Graham's feeling great. He's training hard. His mind is in a good place.
Mm.
He feels younger than ever, and he's going there to have a right go.
Yeah.
And we're confident of Graham putting in a very good performance.
He said to me that he's ready to go in and cause the upset, and with nutrition, that he's never felt better, and he feels really, really good. He's got nutritionists in that, I think, was from England. I can't remember the guy. Liam Williams, I think the guy was
Liam,
called. Yeah,
Liam Williams,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So he's saying that he got Liam Williams in, and that he feels honestly absolutely amazing. His body feels great. And he's going in here to cause an upset. But from your view, what is it like to have Graham out on that stage as well?
No, it's great, and it kind of brings us around almost full circle from nearly the start of my kind of current managerial career. I had Dylan McDonough early on. It was just Dylan, and he fought for an Irish title and a Celtic title over in Scotland. And Graham really was the first of where it was now. What has become Ian Gaugran boxing, I suppose. So for us to be able to have kind of bring that journey around full circle, for Graham to be able to fight on such a big bill, with the world watching, yeah, like it's a huge level of satisfaction, and it's nothing more than he deserves, because he's been a great servant to Irish boxing, and he's a great friend of mine, and he's done an awful lot for me as a manager. So it's great to be able to repay that a little bit, and you know all he needs to do now is go and show up and be the best he can be and put in a proper performance and like give this fella a right test, you know.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago, or I want to go back to 2 weeks ago as well. Your man had a hell of a war, and I think an Irish Fight of the Year contender, 100%. David Ryan. What
Yeah.
a fight, first off. And I've talked to a lot of people, and I remember talking to you just after, and there was, let's say, emotions are flying high, and we'll leave it at that with what's being said. But going into that fight and going into that war, let's say that, what was that like?
Yeah, then there, it's very hard to explain how invested I become or how invested most trainers and managers become. You know, you're very close to these people and you really want the best for them. And you know, we knew Dave was going into a firefight. We had an idea that it was going to be a fast start from Tony. Obviously, being dropped in round two was not part of the plan. Um, but Dave obviously showed what he's made of, and he kind of walked Tony down all night, and you know he got the result. He got the result fairly clear cut. Obviously, there was a little bit of confusion at the time, but
Human error.
I think most people agree that Dave won the fight, whether
Yeah.
it was by a round or by 2 rounds or whatever it
Yeah.
was, because he came on so strong and from rounds 3 through to 8, and you know he showed what he's made of, and it's onwards and upwards for him now. Like I think the next obvious step is to go fight for the Irish title, and we started to have a little bit of talk about dates and that kind of stuff with regards to Sen and Kelly. So very much very early in the process, but yeah, that seems to be the normal obvious route for both sides to go. Sen kindly vacated the title for Dave and Tony to fight for it. So Sen deserves a shot at the Irish title, and I think Dave does too. So if we can get that made for sometime later in the summer or in the autumn time, that's what we look to do.
Would there be any? Because I remember thinking to myself, could there be a rematch clause that, like some kind of rematch that could be activated at all? Has David thrown any consideration at all towards a rematch
Yeah,
with
I
Tony?
think I think Senan is just the natural progression for the two of them, and I think, um, you know, Tony can have a win in the meantime, and if it's Dave and Tony can rematch it for the Irish title.
Yeah.
If it's Senan, you imagine Tony maybe goes down to lightweight or something, because they're not going to fight each other. I think they're close within the same camp, and
Yeah.
yeah. So I suppose Tony fighting for the Irish title at that weight probably hinges on maybe Dave beating Senan, and that's obviously a big ask, you know.
Yeah.
So there's a few moving parts, but I guess we can hopefully get Dave and Senan made for some stage this year, and who knows, like the winner could fight. Well, sorry, if Dave is the winner, you could fight Tony. But like Tony looked like he made the weight pretty easy. He came in nicely under. Lightweight is there from as well, I suppose. And there's always that James McGivern fight that's been tried a few times and all sorts of business with that. So that's obviously a nice fight in the background for him. But as it stands, I think Dave and Senan is the one we would be looking for.
Okay. Can you give us any update at all towards Jamie?
Yeah, Jamie's again similar. If I know you spoke to Jamie Conlon last week, and they want to make the trilogy. I think we're happy enough to make the trilogy, and we're looking at a date to get Jamie out, probably for a 6-round fight in between. Nothing is concrete yet, and I think the show itself hasn't been announced, so we'll wait for that show to be announced. But yeah, Jamie will be out in the meantime if he's going to fight Kevin Cronin on this proposed KERRY show. That's August the 10th, so we'll get Jamie out kind of in between now and then to blow off a little bit of cobwebs and just work on what he's been working on for 6 rounds.
Is there any future plans at all that you can say to us here at IrishBoxing.com for Ian Gaugran boxing? That, obviously you're very active and you're a great lad to talk to anytime I have a chat with you, and I've great time with you. But I need to ask the hard questions. Is there anything you can say to us at the moment, where any plans at all, or anything you can tell us?
No, like, I mean, we're hoping to have Matty Borland out fairly soon. Talking to a promoter about a big show, just waiting to hear back from that. And Keane Reddy, who is extremely talented, we all know what Keane can do. He's going to make his debut probably on that. I know Jamie Conlon had mentioned it to you as well. He'll make his debut on that KERRY show as well if it goes ahead. Obviously, we're just waiting for a few moving parts, to make sure that shows are on and that kind of stuff. But we'll ramp all that up over the next week or
Yeah.
two, and we'll get everything locked down. But they're obviously ones who we were very excited about, you know.
Yeah.
Like Matty was fought on the Letterkenny show as an exhibition in his last amateur bout, and they kind of, him and Carl Sheridan stole the show. And as I said, like, I've made no secret of the regard I hold Keane. Keane's working away with Arias in Unit 3 and Wayne Woods in Leeds, and you know, he's progressing nicely. He's doing plenty of sparring, he's doing plenty of high level sparring, and you know, the word, there's no ceiling as to where Keane can go.
Okay.
So and like, I'm always kind of looking to improve the stable and grow the stable, and I always will have a conversation with fighters here and there, and you know, there would be a couple of little exciting ones that I'm just kind of having little kind of conversations with preliminarily, but I won't say any names because they're only those conversations are, again, they're in their infancy as well.
Okay. In terms of the people that don't qualify for the Olympics at all this year with the Irish amateurs, will you be looking to sign any of them at all that would like to come onto your stable?
I think so, yeah.
Any names at all that you can even
Nope.
look at? No, okay,
No.
okay.
If and or when things progress to a stage, don't worry, a bit further. No.
Okay. My last question, Mr. Ian Gaugran, can you describe what we can see from Graham from your manager side in 3 words?
3 words: energy, pressure, war. And I don't like the whole war thing, but now Graham is looking to bring war. He's got war on his shorts. But Graham he feels great, and he's full of energy. As you said, he's been working with Liam Williams. He's planning on being on weight, in and around on weight by Thursday night. So he wakes up on Friday morning, maybe take a pound off or whatever, but he's very much on the weight. He feels great. He's been training away.
Okay.
You know, the way to do it is to kind of go in and make sure that he smothers this fella, puts pressure on this fella, and don't let the guy work.
Yeah.
You know, and Graham's never involved in anything other than entertaining scraps. So I think he'll bring it to George Liddard, and I'm sure George will do the same. So yeah, it could be a really good fight to early on what's going to be a brilliant bit.
Okay. Ian, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.